No matter how difficult and painful it might be, nothing sounds as good to the soul as the truth. Marta back. You're listening to the Real Estate Investor Show, episode number 13.
Welcome, ladies, to the Real Estate Investor Show, providing inspiration, strategies, and insight to empower women investors to live balanced and financially free lives. Now, here are your co-hosts, Liz and Andressa.
Have you ever used your age as a limiting factor to your success? Well, today's guest, Emily Snider, got started in real estate investing 2 years ago when she was only 19 years old. After moving to LA to find herself, one thing led to another, and she discovered the power of wholesaling and made her very first $5,000. As her confidence grew, so did her results. Just this past year, she closed 40 wholesale deals by herself and joined venturing with others nationwide. Hey, Andressa, how are we doing?
Hey, Liz, I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I'm going a little crazy currently because I'm getting ready for my daughter's first birthday party.
What?
And it's
1 year.
1 year old. It creeped up, and I totally last minute with everything that I've been preparing. So everything I did for my son, I'm like, I got to get this party together in a short amount of time. So that's what's kind of coming up for me. But I cannot believe she is 1 year old. So that has just flown by.
I remember when she was born. It seems like
Yesterday.
2 months ago.
I know. Your second child, people say, and then they're like, wait till you have your third. I'm like, I don't think I'm having any more children, but okay.
We're good.
I'm good with two. We're really, really excited to have our guest here, Emily, on our show today. Welcome, Emily.
Thank you, guys. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, we're going to get into a lot of neat discussion around wholesaling and all the things that Emily is up to. But before we do that, though, Andressa, you wanted to jump in and talk a little bit about wholesaling before we even jumped into Emily's story.
Yeah, absolutely. I work with wholesalers all the time. And before we get started, I'm so excited about this show and having a wholesaler woman doing it. I've never bought a deal from a wholesaler woman before. Never. Can you believe it?
Oh, that's
Exactly.
insane.
Exactly. So we need to talk more.
We haven't either.
Right?
Wow.
Yeah, a majority of our deals come from wholesalers. So it's such an important piece of our business. So before we get started, I just want to, in a nutshell, explain to our listeners what is wholesaler. There's different versions of it, but basically, the wholesaler is that person that speaks with a homeowner or the representative of that house, gets that property under contract for a price, and then looks for a buyer, assign that contract or close it and sell it to an investor or another person for a profit. So basically, if she gets under the contract for 70 and sell it for 100, 30 is hers. So basically flipping the paper, but there's much more that goes into it. And that's what we're going to talk about. Right, Emily?
Absolutely.
And before we get into all of that, we'd love to hear, Emily, how you got into this business. You know, your story is really, really interesting, and just share with the listeners. And you've been in doing this for a couple of years. So how did you, what compelled you to get involved in wholesaling and real estate investing? I know you're up to other things as well.
I don't think I truly understood like how much impact wholesaling had on my life until I started to really be in the moment of where I am today. And I got started because when I grew up, I always knew I wanted to do something more. And I had this drive inside of me that I knew I was destined for more. And when I found wholesaling, I realized I wasn't only selling a house. I wasn't only connecting a homeowner with a buyer. I was literally changing my city, and I was changing any city that I was working in. And my philosophy has always been, you change a house, you change a family, you change the neighborhood, and then you change the city. And there's so many things that go into it, you know, when you think of what a house represents. And there's a quote that a house is only beams. No, it's concrete and beams, but a home is love and dreams, or something like that along the lines. But it really spoke to me because a single family home is where is what makes everything happen in a family. You know, it's the space you create. And there's so many things when it comes to single family homes, you know, instead of just wholesaling. But so when I fell into wholesaling, I realized it was an incredible vessel for me to find purpose and propel myself through the business and everybody that I met along the way.
Absolutely. What you're saying is just such an important point, because so many people out there look at wholesale as their first option, but they look at the task itself, and the task itself doesn't have any meaning to them. So they get discouraged, and the fear of the unknown, how to do all of that, prevent them to move forward. How was your first deal? How did you make that happen?
I want to say, like, I want to think I had like many deals, because my first deals were almost like this adrenaline rush. And my first deal, I started working for a few young guys who actually introduced me into wholesaling. And so my first deal, I started marketing, and I found a broker, and he was like, and it was just so surreal. Like, my first deal, I'm so young, and I'm saying, I buy houses, I can pay cash, you know. And then this broker is like, he could choose anybody, right? He has a million agents to like give the deal to. And he says, I want to give you a shot. I want to give you one chance. And so that was really what propelled me to find the confidence. And so we ended up, you know, getting the property under contract. We thought we were going to make like $14,000. And then so many things happened. Like, there was a foreclosure, there was probate, there were liens. And then the deal ended up making, I think, like $3,000 at the end of the day. But regardless, there were so many lessons that came from just that one deal. And once it closed and funded and I got my percentage, then I was like, this is real. Like, it works, you know? And I remember coming home and my parents were like, well, is this illegal? Like, what's going on, you know? So there were so many adrenaline rushes happening for my first 3 deals. And I think the takeaway was just how it builds so much confidence inside of you, and really just gives you the courage to say, I can do this, you know?
So let me take a step back here. So you're working for a couple guys, and these guys that you're working for, did they have like a real estate investing company, or did they just do wholesaling? Did they do a lot of different things? What did that look like?
So ironically, when I first started, they were starting too, but they introduced me to the idea. And so they had the connections of doing nationwide deals. And then I made relationships with the connections. We still work together and we still do deals together, but they were the ones who introduced me to the world of wholesaling. So they would pretty much sell their deals to bigger companies, and then delegate so many tasks from there.
Okay.
So it was just finding the deal, bringing the deal to the company, you know, and knowing what outlined the deals. So we used our time effectively.
That's great. So the past year you closed 40 deals.
Mm-hmm.
How did you make that happen? What exactly were your actions to make that happen?
The actions to make that happen, I think it was joint venturing. When I think about doing everything by myself this year, it would have been impossible. And really utilizing other relationships. And I just can't say enough about relationships in any business. And in wholesaling, it's like you do good to others and others do good to you. And so when I started understanding, you know, my time is valuable, that I'm only one person, I can't be spread thin, then I learned to build relationships with others, trust that they're going to do the right thing, and then make sure that everything is taken care of, you know, in a systematic order. Send pictures, go to the property, you know, and then relay everything back to title.
So that's interesting. So you went, take a step back too, because I'm always curious, like what the step-by-step, you know, for people is, because it's so impressive to say, okay, wow, that's 40 deals you did in 1 year. That's really impressive.
Right.
Especially in you're newer to this business. but you did a few deals. Like you said, you did 3 deals, I think, or initially. It was like a few right at the beginning. So
I didn't get my first deal until 5 months into the business. So you can understand, like, really just working and your gears are working, you know, and then you're really discouraged. I will say that a lot of people who start wholesaling get discouraged because it looks easy, but really until you start to understand like that there's systems in place and that it's a relationship thing and it's not just about the dollar, then you start to gain the momentum and then do more deals.
Yeah. And you in essence have 2 customers. And again, out of every niche of real estate investing, probably wholesaling is the one that, you know, we haven't done much of at all. I mean, we buy properties from wholesalers, but I wouldn't say I'm a wholesaler by any stretch of the means. We've really never done it. Andres has done even a little more than I have. But when it comes to wholesaling, you have 2 customers, right? You have the person you're going to be getting the property under contract from. So it's in essence a homeowner. And then you have the person you're selling it to, or, you know, again, flipping the paper, what have you, assigning whatever way that goes. But then you have an investor or a buyer. So when you say, you know, you didn't get your first deal to 5 months, you didn't find that homeowner, right? Until 5 months. Is that what you meant?
Yeah. Okay. I mean, well, like in the process, because there was a lot of deals I was looking at and a lot of them didn't work.
When you say didn't work, what do you mean by that?
Like the seller wanted too much money, or there was a lien, or, you know, things that, of course, when you first start, you think, I got a deal. And then you don't even think if it works or not. You're just so excited that you found somebody who wants to sell their house. Right. You know what I mean?
And it working is really, in essence, you need it to work at a price that you'll be able to flip the paper to someone else. And that's what Emily's speaking of too. And especially in this current market, to be able to flip the paper and make money on that is impressive because things are more expensive and it's harder to find deals.
People are squeezing deals. Like you're like, where's the money?
Absolutely. I want to jump in on this case because I get wholesale deals every single day. And what makes a difference between me trusting that person is how he presents the deal to me. So what you guys are talking is exactly what it is. Yes. Sometimes people send the deal to me, it will cost $10,000 to rehab. No, you won't. I won't be able to make money. So for the wholesalers out there, and I know, Emily, you're on the same page, we need to know exactly how much the rehab will cost. So you will get the credibility when you're speaking with the investor and you know that the investor has a gap there that he can make money on it. Otherwise, you don't have space there to sell that property under a good price for the investor.
I will say when I first started and it's so easy to say, okay, you want this price and then you find out how much the house can sell for. But I feel like I doubted, I had so much doubt on myself when it came to repairs that I would literally pick up the phone and call contractors and be like, I need help because I don't want to push this deal, ruin my reputation. I want to give an honest rehab number and make sure that this deal works. So, but then once you start seeing, like you make relationships with your investors and you start seeing the deal, like how much a $15,000 repair bid looks like compared to a full blown, like top to bottom renovation looks like, then in your mind, you're able to kind of put the pieces together and see, okay, this is going to be $30,000. This doesn't need that much work. Can we cut corners here? And then really, really understand. And then like you just start getting so confident after time and you think, I've got this. And then next thing you know, you go to a house and you say, it's going to be $50,000 and it comes in like $52,000 and you still kind of brush it off like I was right on the money, you know?
There you go. And so for the ladies out there that are thinking about starting real estate and thinking about wholesaler, and you are so young, you're 21, and they think, well, I don't have experience in construction, so I'm not going to even start. What would you say to them?
I don't know. I would say really like look at anything that you've done in life. Like really, did you see yourself doing one thing? And you really never see yourself doing anything. You kind of fall into it. And it's like you have this passion to be more, and then you just keep going, and you find something in your mind that works, and then you just take little steps towards it and work towards it.
I like that. Just to shift gears too, in terms of wholesaling, so much of it is marketing. How you market the deal, how you market the, to get the homeowner to call you, because everyone sees the I buy house signs, or, and you're up against a lot of competition when it comes to that. And then you have the competition of the investors, right? So the investors have other wholesalers to go to. So you're kind of up against a lot of, different competition. So what would you say, in order to have done 40 deals and to do it at such a quick rate? I mean, you did it quickly. What marketing, strategies and what way did you go with that?
I would say a lot of it is like, number one, it's brand building. It's getting your name out there. It's letting people know who you are, and also tying that in with your reputation. But when it comes to marketing, I think that it all goes down one path. It's inbound marketing, and it's getting people not only spinning your wheels to find them, but creating something that makes people reach out to you. And a really good example would be, and for wholesaling, if this goes with realtors and wholesalers, is, for example, say you have a website and both pages are selling a white t-shirt. And what's going to differentiate you from buying a t-shirt on this website to this one? Well, one website has really great pictures. They've got videos, they've got PayPal, they have everything in the same place. And it goes the same for your business in real estate. And it's the way that you market. You have a page. It looks attractive to the eye, and it's all about quality, because with quality, it brings trust. And so I think that goes for not only your buyers coming to your page, but also the sellers,
Got it. So for the marketing piece, majority of your deals are coming from online, or you also do direct marketing?
The majority of my deals do come from online, and I would say Facebook is a huge source, because it gives you such narrow characteristics to target the right people. And so learning to find the right people to target, then I think Facebook is a great resource for that.
How do you navigate that when you move into new markets? So like you mentioned, you had done a lot of deals in your, kind of focused areas. And now you're, as you expand, you're doing deals in other kind of regions, other markets. How do you do that? I mean, how have you done that, so to speak, from a marketing perspective when you've expanded, your geographical location per se?
Really, I would say when it comes to expanding, I have really focused on realtors, because I know that their business comes from selling houses and from listing houses. And so knowing that this is their business, and every time you see a realtor finds a deal and they think, oh, this deal is so ugly, nobody would ever buy this, I'm not going to list it. But they don't know that there are people who see that as that is what they're looking for. They're not looking for clean cuts, for perfect roofs, for perfect even foundations. So targeting realtors in each market, and it's so easy going on Facebook and going to the right, just typing in, say, for example, San Antonio realtors. There's so many pages that allow you to find those realtors and connect with them, and they see face to face, they see your profile, they see that you're a real person. Mm-hmm. And if you build your brand around that, then it's almost like, what would you call it? It's like building a report, and your Facebook is like a blog pretty much. And they go and they see you're doing deals, you have the connections, you're a mover and a shaker in the industry.
That's an interesting strategy. So really, Facebook has been a way you've not only built your reputation, but you record what you're up to. So then if someone's like, who's this Emily girl? Then, they'll go into your your Facebook page, and then they'll be able to assess your kind of credibility from there. That's an interesting strategy.
Right. And it definitely has worked for me. For instance, I think it was my fifth deal I did a video, and I'm thinking, I did a live video and I had, I don't know, like 80 people on my live video. And the guy recording the video was like, oh my gosh, what's happening? And I didn't realize until I finished the live video showcasing the outside of a house that I was selling and telling the story of how beautiful it was, and it's for sale, and are you an investor? But I didn't realize the power of videos until that moment. And not only like did people see that I was like somebody real, but they saw my personality. They got to see like my flair and how young I was. And I think when you show like how excited you are through the video, that people get excited and they want to know, they want to say, I want to do real estate investing. I want to be like that, you know? So that was a huge turning point for me, doing my first live video and seeing so many people engage and just create a community. It was almost like I have like a million cheerleaders around me.
That's so funny you were saying that. I think that's also what differentiates you from other wholesalers. The ones that I do business here, I can count in like one hand. But the amount of people that call me saying, I am a wholesaler, what you're looking for, and I give them all my criteria and never heard back from them again.
Right.
And it's just, who are they? Are they even like real, or is just like a machine calling people and getting information? So one thing that I want to point out about wholesaling, it is a very important piece of my business. And I do appreciate all the work that the wholesalers do out there because it's not easy. The follow-up that they need to do sometimes to catch the homeowner, catch in the sense of get in touch with the homeowner that don't return the calls or don't return the piece of mail that you send, or the follow-up. Talk about it a little bit, Emily. What's involved on it, and how many times people need to keep going until they say, no, this deal is done?
Yeah, I've had so many deals where I think, how am I here right now? You just have to stop in your tracks and think how hard you've worked on following up. But again, I'm going to tie in relationship building, because a seller can have a higher offer. Like they can have an offer. Let's just use 60,000. They can have an offer at 60,000 and you're offering 52,000. But how much but when you really try to build a relationship and not only just say, I'm going to buy your house, but understand their family. For example, I had a seller, I sat in the house that she was cleaning out, and she was going through pictures of her family and she was crying. I mean, selling a house is emotional, you know?
Yeah.
And so when I really put myself in that moment, in that position with her, and understanding that, like, hey, I understand it's not easy. I understand it's an emotional process. I'm here to hold your hand, and we're family, you know? So really approaching it like with the homeowner. Some of them are going to be a little bit aggressive, obviously, because their defense mechanisms are up. They're like, I'm going through foreclosure. Whoa. But for that moment, I realized just putting yourself on the same level and understanding with them, not thinking so much about the money, but so much about the relationship, that when you focus on like just the humankind instead of the dollar, I think it just puts you miles apart from the rest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I have had the same experiences as Andressa. You know, we'll talk to folks that are getting into wholesaling, and they'll say, what's your criteria? And, you know, I want to build a relationship, and never hear from them again. So, you know, right. I think what you're saying is so true in real estate investing. It's really true in life, but you're putting the relationship before the transaction. Right. And so much of real estate can be very transactional, whether it's, you know, finding tenants, whether it's finding investors, whether it's finding homeowners, right? It's all can be very transactional in its form. But what you're saying is so powerful, because it is about the relationship first. Yeah. And sometimes you may not be able to help homeowners, you know, and that's, I'm sure you have examples of that, but I think that's awesome that you have that perspective, and and look how successful you've been at it. So
Yeah.
it's not just a nice thing to do, but it's obviously what you believe.
Right.
And also it's yielded such fantastic results for you. So,
and I would say the same goes for my buyers. When I think about, because I only have a few buyers, like I really keep on hand that I have a relationship with, but understanding like their goals, like where they want to go, and understanding the properties that they're looking for, like not sending them everything, but really like putting so much attention to where they want to go, you know, and how many properties you need to do to reach your goal. And just making it a win-win, you know, because you never know, like taking care of that relationship and really exceeding their expectations in other times after, you know, because wholesaling is just a stepping stone. But after that, you never know when they're going to, when you're going to need their help. They could be a private money lender on a deal. You guys could even partner on a flip, or they could, I mean, the opportunities are endless, really.
Yeah. And I was just going to say too, with wholesaling, so many people do think it is a stepping stone, but yet everyone needs deals. Everyone needs properties, no matter if you're new in this business or we've been doing it for, you know, many years. And Jess and I both have been doing it for many years. And if you ask me right now, what do you need? I would say we need more properties to flip. I'll you know, straight out. That's a goal of ours, and that's a need of ours right now. So it's never something that goes away. Like, oh, I'm good, unless you're done with building your portfolio, and that's possible. But we're in the growth stage. So is Andressa, and so are you. So you know, that's such a good point that, you know, it is a stepping stone, but it's an important strategy if you're going to be an investor, especially if you're flipping property or you're in that business, even rental business, you know, that finding wholesale deals. So
I just want to make like such a good point that you just said about sending your buyers. You don't need to have 100 buyers on your list. You have to have solid buyers on your list.
Right.
But sometimes I receive emails every day and I was like, why are you sending me this? I have no interest in those areas. So you didn't hear you didn't hear me. You didn't connect with me. And what you're saying there, if that is done, if the connection between the wholesaler and the buyer is done, we know that you have our back and vice versa. It's just a matter of a phone call and say, I got what you're looking for. Here are the numbers. I'll text it to you. Come see me in 15 minutes and we get the deal done. Because I know that you're not going to waste my time. If you're calling me and asking me to check the deal up, I know that you already know my criteria and you're not going to waste my time. That is such key.
Time wasters.
In all the deals you've done, I'm curious, what has been your craziest wholesale, you know, deal? So when it comes to the homeowners, like what deal when you think of it, like just, wow, this is the most craziest one. So hopefully it'll have a good ending, but I'm just curious because you deal with homeowners all the time. I'm so much more removed from that. So I'm really curious, you know, which one?
I don't know. I would say crazy is wholesaling. So when you're faced with like a lot of emotional like moments, but I've had some really scary moments, you know, going into houses by myself and like being like, I'm surprised that I'm in like one piece, you know, sometimes I have to think like how, and that was just being fearless and stupid sometimes. But I would say the one deal like that really stuck with me came. I was driving for dollars my first year, and I stopped, and I remember hearing just like this one phrase: if you don't see a hose in front of the house, it might be vacant. And so I didn't see a hose on this house, and so I got out of my car, and like the grass was like mowed, everything like, you know, was okay, it was sound. And I got out and I saw like little flyers on the ground, and I'm thinking, this is interesting. This is a vacant house. And so I knocked on the neighbor's door and I ended up getting their number. And it turned out that these two women lived in Houston. And one woman was epileptic, and so she had like seizures. And then the other one, she had a disease where like it started to eat her fingers. It was so sad. My heart breaks. But anyways, I ended up just working with them on the phone, and I really focused on building a relationship, and I got to talk with them, and they were they were just in a horrible position. They didn't have money to get to go back to this house that once belonged to their mother, who passed away and left their things in the house. And so I ended up sending them a contract. I sent them money. I said, I'll send you guys money if you sign this contract. And so I sent them, I think, like $300. I know when you're a wholesaler, people say don't send them money before you buy the house, but it's always worked for me, sending them money, being a giver, and then receiving the fruits after. And so I sent them $300, being fearless, and being confident that I was going to get this deal done. And they used that money to buy new tires for their car so they could drive down to San Antonio. And when they got there, I remember it like it was yesterday. The garage doors opened, and there's one sister standing there. And all of a sudden, I just hugged her. And I'm like, oh, this is crazy. And so then I walked inside and met the sister with the epileptic seizures. And she just hugged me and said, like, you're the one we're supposed to sell this house to. And God brought you into our life. And you're here for a reason. And I just couldn't help but cry. And so we ended up getting the deal done. I wanted to flip it myself. I was going to raise private money, but the day we were going to close on the deal, my guy didn't even answer the phone. So I had to wholesale the deal. But we got the deal done. They walked away with, I think, $40,000 in equity from the house. And they were able to really just start over and just have a good conscience about where the house was going. And so
I think what you're saying, there's so many twists and turns I'm sure you've dealt with. In some ways, you've probably been a therapist, right? To a lot of homeowners.
Yes.
I would think. But what you're saying too, Emily, is so refreshing, because people often think, especially with wholesaling, like you're trying to screw the homeowner, or that's what a lot of people are fearful of. And the really good wholesalers don't do that. And especially the ones we work with or intend to work with, it's a win-win. And it's okay that you're selling the property to someone else, and you're very, very upfront with that. But you've also just shared too in your experiences that you've helped these people, and it is a win-win. You're not trying, you're helping the homeowner just as much as you're helping the investor, and you're helping yourself. And that's the way it should be, because if one person wins and everyone loses, no one's going to want to do that again. So I think what you're saying is very refreshing, because more wholesalers should feel that way and should do that. I think they'd be more successful too. The other thing I had a question on about you, Andressa, is you work with your twin sister. Your partners with your twin sister. My
partner in crime. Yes.
So we could probably have a whole interview just on that topic. So we want to be mindful of that. But I'm just curious, how do you divide the tasks? It's your best friend. She's also your business partner. You've been with her since you've been born. How did that happen? And how do you divide the tasks so you're both on the same page? How do you make that work?
I stop and think sometimes to be a twin and to be in the same business is a little challenging, but I think to be able to grow with your sibling and want to see them succeed, want to pull them up, and want to be great together, I think that has been such a blessing. And so I think that we both acknowledge that if I win, she wins, and seeing that at the end of the day, we have each other's back, that no one's going to come in between our relationship is pretty apparent between the both of us. But when it comes to working deals together, she knows that I'm good at one thing and she is good at another. And we really just try to respect that and focus on what we're good at. And so for her, she supplies obviously resources for finding what the houses are worth and other things like that. But for example, like we just did a deal. She found the seller from Instagram and she said, I have this deal, but I really don't know how to market it. And I don't want to obviously get in trouble with my brokerage either. So we do deals under my LLC. And then obviously I make sure that she's taken care of for bringing me the deal and working together. But more importantly, it's just wanting the best for each other and respecting the boundaries that are drawn.
It's really interesting. It's like that's a whole story within itself, like the twin sisters that are just like making it happen in Texas and elsewhere. I love it.
I'm going to have to send you a picture of the both of us.
Please. We'll put it up there on the show notes.
We look so similar.
Oh, that's really neat. That's really neat. But before we get to the fabulous 3 questions, where can listeners learn more about you?
I would say Facebook, obviously. I'm a Facebook queen, facebook.com/Emily Snider. And we also, I have a shared Facebook page with my sister. It's facebook.com/Snider Twins. And then, I don't know, you guys can message me through there. And then I'm working on a website right now as well.
There you go. That's exciting.
So it's www.emilysnider.com.
Perfect. And all of this, guys, are going to be on our show notes, so you can check it out later on. And for the fabulous 3 questions, I'm going to get started. So the first one is, Emily, what's the most transformational book you have ever read?
I would say, I would say I'm currently exploring and reading it, but I would say it's the Bible.
Okay.
And there's a lot of, it's not like the physical things of the world, but it's more spiritual. It's more things that we don't see, and understanding how the world works and the wisdom that's inside of us. So
great. The second one is, what's the most powerful routine you do to create a financially free and balanced life?
Waking up with gratefulness.
Wow. Do you have a routine specifically that you do? Affirmations, visualizations?
No, just not really throwing myself out of bed and feeling like the world is, I have to chase it, but understanding that I create my own legacy and my own destiny, and I'm in control of everything.
Awesome. And which woman, famous or not, has inspired you the most?
This is going to be obvious, but my twin sister, of course, and my mom, but my sister for sure. So,
and why is that?
I just, growing up with a twin sister, she teaches me so many things about myself, and she's been like a mini mentor in a sense, and showing me what friendship is really about, and unconditional love and everything. So my sister.
Beautiful. Well, Emily, thank you so much for being on our show. Your insight into wholesaling, and I'm sure you're going to be up to a lot of neat things as you continue on here with your real estate adventures. So thank you so much, Emily, for coming on our show. We really appreciate all your insight and story. And I have a feeling we're going to hear a lot from you as you continue on with your real estate, adventure, and all the things that you're going to, I'm sure, lead into.
Yes.
So
Yes,
thanks for being on today.
Thank you so much for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Thanks a lot. I'm going to keep looking for the hoses, for the big houses.
Okay.
All right.
Hear the stories.
All right. Have a good day, though. Thank
we'll
you. Bye. If you enjoyed this podcast and want to receive updates on our next interviews, go to our website, therealestateinvestor.com. There, you can subscribe to our show, become part of our investor community, and get updates on upcoming episodes.
If you like our show, please share with other women who would benefit. And don't forget to leave us a rating on iTunes. We'd really appreciate it. And as always, we encourage you to take one action as a result of today's show and put it into motion so you can live both a financially free and balanced life. Thanks for spending time with us.
Ciao.